I want to talk about rumination, which is an absolute hallmark of avoidant personality disorder. It's basically sort of when thoughts loop in your head and you can't get them out, and you're obsessing about things that have happened in the past, etc. Cat thinks I'm talking to him. Anyway, and how to stop them. Now, to begin with, I'm kind of a hypocrite because the things I'm going to talk about, I don't do them myself. They probably work, but I don't do them. And, okay, I've tried them. Here's the problem. If you have avoidant personality disorder, it's impossible not to ruminate. It's part of the diagnosis. It's what happens. So, you know, if you're able to stop it permanently, then you don't have the PD, which is kind of awesome. However, there are ways of sort of living with the rumination and ways of mitigating it and making it a little bit better. The first thing, and this is a big buzzword and I know a lot of people hate it, is mindfulness. Now, it has a really bad rap of, ooh, kumbaya, yoga, blah, blah, blah. That's not what mindfulness is. Mindfulness is basically focusing on the here and now, what's actually happening, and not either obsessing about stuff that happened in the past or trying to figure out or think about what might happen in the future, or what other people who are not directly with you, interacting with you, might be thinking about you. All these things are not the actual physical now. Now, mindfulness for me doesn't really stop the ruminating. However, I have used it to stop panic attacks, straight up stop them. Which is fantastic. Completely cut them short. Totally. It's great. Like I'll start the sort of ruminating process, especially if I'm driving somewhere, because I'll be thinking of the last time I did this event, you know, whatever it is, the last time I went to the doctor or whatever, and I'll be trying to figure out what's going to happen in the future. If anybody knows me, I'm like constantly trying to figure everybody out. Again, though, that's part of being avoidant, is I was accused of sort of being overly sure of my theories about what is going on with other people. I'm like, whatever. You know what? I know that annoys people. It's also almost always accurate. Maybe not dead on perfect. Maybe you can pick out little things that are not quite right. But anyway, but the problem with that is, of course, is that it can make somebody so anxious that it will cause a panic attack. I'll get it, especially like I said, when I'm driving, and how to do mindfulness is to think of sort of physical sensations of what you're actually feeling and thinking, etc., about something that's happening. Well, actually, the thinking, that's sort of the problem. I combine them because, again, I'm bad at this. But, like, especially if I'm driving, I'll be feeling the wheel in my hand and feeling the vibrations, and I can feel this against my fingers, etc. And I'll be focusing on how my foot is pushing down on the pedal. I mean, I know this sounds like so mumbo jumbo, stupid until you've done it and see that it does work, because then you know that's what you're thinking about. It sort of replaces, like, you know, Brady says, how you change a habit, you replace a habit with a different one. It replaces your thoughts from whatever it is you're thinking, trying to figure out, going over from the past or whatever, into something that's really happening right then and there, very physical, and you can always come back to it and say, well, you know, now I'm turning the wheel of the car, etc., etc. When they try mindfulness, a lot of them are like, oh, you're going to lay down and you're going to feel your toes and you're going to feel your calves. That doesn't really work for me at all, because I'm like, oh no, they feel the same way they felt 2 seconds ago before I laid down. I don't know how to do that. So again, like right now it's raining out. That could work, because I'm sitting here listening. Just listen to those drops. That doesn't work so much for me. Again, I'm more a physical person, but you know, so physical touch sensations. But it can work. A lot of people use music to sort of put themselves in a trance. That's the kind of thing that can stop rumination. There's also CBT practice, which again, CBT doesn't usually work because it's so easy to dismiss it and to dump it into, okay, well, that's not actually the way it is. You know, the way I was thinking before is more accurate and a better way of thinking about things. But CBT, I mean, especially with me, CBT, I will realize that my thinking problem is wrong, and instead of allowing it to be overridden with a more accurate thinking process, I'll think them both at the same time, and then I'll beat myself up for thinking something that's so clearly wrong. So CBT doesn't really work for me. It doesn't work for most people who have avoidant personality disorder. Traits it works great for, but the full-blown PD it doesn't work so good. But those types of thoughts and that sort of thinking structure, again, can help somebody stop the ruminating, because you become aware of it. If you're not aware that you're thinking in this sort of spiral about this happened and that means that this other thing is going to happen in the future. I mean, that if you're aware that you're, and it's really hard. Now, this is DBT. DBT is to not judge what you're thinking and feeling, etc. That's really hard for somebody with avoidant personality disorder to do. But yeah, to be aware that you're thinking of what you're thinking and then not judge yourself for it and just say, okay, I am doing this right now. Again, that's DBT. CBT is to then take those thoughts that are maybe not 100% accurate and replace them. For instance, you'll say, everybody stares at me when I go to this place, and it's like, okay, well, think. Okay, yes, you've gone there and you've seen 10 people staring at you, but there's another 250 people that are still looking at their phones and have never looked at you once. You know, focus on the facts. The facts are, it's not everybody that stares at you. There might be 1 or 2 people, and you know, how can you then ignore those people that are staring at you? Like literally turn your back to them, or get your own phone out and look at your own phone or something like that. That is CBT, and that also can help. It won't stop the thoughts completely, but again, the more you're aware of your avoidant personality disorder, you will become aware that there are going to be 2 thoughts, avoidant thoughts and reality. And I mean, that's really harsh to put it like that, but seriously, the people who have avoidant personality disorder have struggled with it. Obviously, everybody struggles with it for their entire life, but have really tried to confront it and pay attention to it and learn about it. They'll always say, this is 100% across the board, is that they will say, okay, I'm having an avoidant moment or something like that. They're aware that they're thinking something that's, got a sort of an avoidant bent. It's not necessarily wrong. It's just that the focus is totally on the things that can be basically self-abusing and reiterating what you've heard all your life. Or there are these other things that you can focus on that are not the avoidant thoughts. And basically that's what I've been saying all along through this entire thing. Is that what you do? If you do mindfulness, it's a way of focusing on stuff that's actually, this is minor details that are actually happening now, and let the thoughts go. If you're doing DBT thoughts, then you take the thoughts that you've been having and you become aware of them and realize that those are constructions of a certain a certain way of looking at it, and to not judge yourself for having those. In other words, breaking the pattern of self-judgment and self-loathing to actually say, okay, these are thoughts. Yes, they're thoughts, and I'm not going to judge myself for them. Again, it's changing the focus. Same with the CBT way of looking at things, which is to look at, the phrase that comes to my head is alternative facts, except in this case it is accurate. If your focus is so tight on like 3 people looking at you at a table, and that's all you can pick up on are those 3 people, then yeah, it's accurate to say that, quote unquote, everybody is staring at me, because you're only seeing those 3 people. Again, that's where your focus is. So if you, this is weird. It's like I'm talking to a camera and using a camera metaphor, but seriously, if you pull your focus back and take in a broader focus in that case, and see that there are some people that are looking in your direction, but there's a lot of other people that haven't even noticed that you're there, that sort of thing. That's how you stop a rumination. It won't work permanently. It won't necessarily make you feel better. But if you're really stuck in a downward spiral, those are 3 techniques that will work. Takes practice. So practice.